Everyone here has been waiting for alt season to start, and to be honest, it seems like we've been waiting forever. The longer this takes, though, the better it is for us. Why? That extra time implies that more money is building up behind the scenes, just ready to stream into the big market cap currencies and the altcoins we all own. This is where we really start to make some money. I want to talk about what Tom Lee just told us, since we're seeing a huge change unfold right in front of us. That shows that we cryptocurrency holders, no matter what you have, whether it's XRP, HBAR, or whatever else, are about to make a lot of money from what Tom Lee is doing right now. Let me quickly show you the way to alt season. You may have seen this chart a million times. I've been exhibiting it for weeks because I'm quite sure we're in phase 2 now. Ethereum has been bouncing back harder than Bitcoin, even after the most recent market move. This is a big deal. There's a lot more buying pressure and vigor. There is a lot greater demand for Ethereum than for Bitcoin right now. And look, it's not just the little guys. Huge businesses and institutions are also getting on the Ethereum train. I've been talking to you about all the signals we've been seeing, and this one is huge. Ethereum usage just broke records for the year. We're talking about 1.82 million transactions in a single day. Also, Layer 2s are becoming more popular and real-world assets are becoming tokens. And DeFi going berserk in the background without anyone noticing. But that's not even the finest part. There is a lot of purchasing pressure on Ethereum right now. This is why. Companies that are open to the public are buying up Ethereum like there's no tomorrow. All of these major institutional guys with their Ethereum ETFs are basically having parties because of how much money they're making. Believe it or not, they're really beating Bitcoin ETF inflows. How crazy is that? So yes, we are clearly in phase 2 now. The best part is that we can see all that money moving from Bitcoin to Ethereum in real time. If you haven't already, now is the time to lock in. If you own altcoins, pay attention because this is really important for us. What just happened with Bitcoin going into Ethereum? That's only the opening act. You won't believe how high Ethereum will go. The same thing is about to happen with Ethereum and our altcoins. We just need to be patient here. I know, that's a lot to expect after we've been waiting for so long. But really, believe me when I say that the wait will be worth it. Okay, let's move on from Ethereum because the M2 supply is going insane all over the place. China, the US, the EU, Japan, and Germany are all putting more money into their economies, and China's has been going crazy since New Year's. But here's the crazy thing about the US stats. We moved from $21.88 trillion to $22.02 trillion in a flash. You can already see this huge rise happening. The next set of figures comes out on August 26th, which is the conclusion of current month. Let me put this in context for you. We were at 21.44 trillion in December 2024. That's 21.4 trillion for those who are keeping score. We just went beyond 22 trillion. So from December to now, we've put over $600 billion into the US M2 supply. Just think about how crazy that is. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this upcoming release because I'm very confident we're going to go up from 22 trillion. And to be clear, we're talking about 22,000 billion, which is possibly up to 22.2 trillion. The Fed has been secretly adding money to the system to keep these markets going in a big scale. Why should we worry about all of this? Well, to start, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have been dancing around the M2 supply for a long now. And get this, there's a 92% likelihood that Powell will lower rates at the next Fed meeting in September. When that happens, every market is going to go crazy. When this rate decrease happens, it's going to send the markets through the roof. And here's the crazy part. Everything is so bullish for crypto right now. Ethereum is already going crazy. Ethereum is going crazy right now, which is just when we're entering phase 2 of alt season. The M2 supply is going through the roof, and now we have a 90.2% likelihood of a rate drop in September, a 96.7% chance in October, and a 99.3% chance in December. This simply lets the Fed keep printing money like crazy, pushing these markets even higher and flooding the system with even more cash. When the M2 supply goes crazy like this, equities and crypto will go crazy too. And all of this is happening when XRP is worth more than $3 and Ethereum is at almost $3,700. But here's something interesting. XRP has been beating Ethereum by a lot. It wouldn't surprise me at all. People think that's crazy, but just look at where Bitcoin is now. We're halfway back to 115K, and last time it went past $123,000, which was a new high of about $67,000. If you do the arithmetic, we very much doubled from that old all-time high, right? Ethereum, on the other hand, reached an all-time high of little under $5,000. So if we quadruple that, we'll be close to 10K. The reasoning is completely sound. This is where things become really hot. If Ethereum really does reach $10,000 and the altcoin season money starts to flow, coins like XRP are going to go crazy. And all of this is going on while Tom Lee just made some big news about BitMine. The corporation now has 833,000 Ethereum, which is worth around $3 billion. That makes them the biggest holder of Ethereum in the world and the third greatest treasury of any coin. Look at this. I appeared on the show a month ago to say that I was going to be the chairman. At the time, the stock was around $4.50, and we announced a $250 million investment headed by the Founders Fund, Mosaics, and other groups. But today, we said that we had over $3 billion worth of ETH. The person who had the most ETH at that time. Yes, it's the biggest ETH treasury in the world and the third biggest crypto treasury in the world. We also said that Bill Miller III made a big investment in BitMine last week. He joins Cat High Woods in putting money into our company in the last few weeks. But here's the thing that will blow your head. All of these is really making Ethereum expand like crazy. I'm talking about big names like Tom Lee and prominent firms putting a lot of money into Ethereum right now. And check this out. Ethereum's long-term chart is at this amazing point. We're basically looking at this resistance level and waiting for it to break. I've been counting, and we've hit this same resistance level 8 times now. But here's the crazy part. We're not talking about daily changes here. These are candles for every month. That's how many times we've tried to go through this big wall. But when we eventually break through that $4,000 barrier and go into the 5K zone, you're going to want to hold on tight. That's when things really start to go crazy in the world of altcoins. Tom Lee also thinks that there will be a big rally in August. The person says that the markets will reach new all-time highs in a matter of weeks. If the Fed stops putting pressure on the markets, they might really take off. We have a perfect storm developing around us right now, but here's the catch. You shouldn't run away from this storm. You want to be right in the thick of this maelstrom. You should listen to what Tom Lee has to say about this. It's fair to claim that the Fed should have thought that a downturn was riskier than inflation since it has 2 jobs. Do you suppose they missed that and are now fighting? I don't know, but Trump said they couldn't because you got a cut. Maybe they made the air that way for political reasons. Yes, I believe the Fed needs to show that it is independent, but you are correct. I think that when they look at their dual mandate, they're definitely moving away from the employment statistic now, since the unemployment rate, based on the participation rate before this data, is almost 5% currently. So the Fed has to think about the possibility that the job market could actually start to get weaker. That's right, but you also, I guess that dovish has been a word used to talk about inflation. You didn't think that the tariff system would have a large effect? Yes, that's right. And I think the most important thing to remember is that the goods part of the inflation report that is affected by tariffs has only gone up a little bit. If you apply the same measure of inflation that Europe does, which is inflation minus housing, we're actually below 2%, the Fed. If they were, the ECB would be lowering rates right now. That's cool. So what goal are you working toward now, and when do you want to get it? I believe that in August, we will rally quite a bit. I think we can reach back to 65 or perhaps 66,600 all-time highs in the coming several weeks, and then 7,000 more in the next year. Yes, probably a lot more than that, Yes, I completely agree with Tom Lee on this. A lot of folks are basically hoping for more crashes. They have no idea what's really going on under all the noise. This is what's crazy. We've been keeping an eye on money market funds since 2022, and it was a major sign